Jason Kelce just dropped a bomb on this franchise and it is detonating everywhere. Let me lay it out. The Browns were never going to start Dillon Gabriel. They were never going to start Shedeur Sanders in Week 1. They had a get-out-of-jail-free card in Kenny Pickett's hamstring injury, and instead of making a tough call, they ducked the whole thing. They slid right into what felt easy. But Jason Kelce, a guy who doesn't speak just to hear his own voice, a guy with a Super Bowl ring, a guy with a platform that cuts through the NFL noise, he saw straight through it. And when he ripped into Cleveland's quarterback plan, trust me, people listened. Now here's the thing, this wasn't some hot take. This wasn't shouting into a microphone just to trend on Twitter. No, this was a reality check. Kelce asked the question fans were whispering but didn't want to say out loud. Are we really trusting Joe Flacco to lead this team? And the second he said it, it hit like a gut punch. Because let's be honest, the Browns are supposed to be a team, ready to make noise. Weapons on both sides of the ball, a defense that strangles drives, 2 first-round picks next year. On paper, this is a team that should terrify opponents. But what Kelce exposed is the ugly truth. They don't look fearless, they look scared. And this isn't even about hating on Joe Flacco. It's about philosophy. It's about mindset. Instead of betting on momentum, instead of letting the future take shape, the Browns grabbed the safety net. And in the NFL, a safety net usually means one thing. You're playing not to lose. Think about it. Joe Flacco had 1 foot in retirement. The man was practically in the TV booth, maybe even picking out a new set of golf clubs. Suddenly he's QB1, and here's the kicker. He didn't even take a single preseason snap. Not one. 0. Zilch. And we're supposed to believe he's ready to lead this team into one of the toughest divisions in football? That's not confidence. That's hesitation. And hesitation gets you killed in the AFC North. This division isn't charity. The Bengals are stacked. The Ravens reload every single year. The Steelers? They always hit harder than their roster says they should. So when the Browns go conservative at quarterback, it's like stepping into a heavyweight fight and offering a handshake. That's what Jason Kelce was calling out. And here's where it stings even more. While Flacco slides into the starting job, Shedeur Sanders and Dillon Gabriel are holding clipboards. And man, those two gave us flashes in camp. Shedeur, his accuracy, his poise, his leadership. Gabriel, no spotlight, no flashy name, just a grinder who showed up every day sharp and consistent. They earned looks. They earned real reps. And when the moment came, the Browns buried them. That's not development. That's fear. And look, Browns fans know this story too well. Quarterback drama in Cleveland isn't just a chapter. It's the whole book. More than 30 starters in the last 20 years. 30. Do you know how insane that number is? It's practically tradition at this point. And every time, the same pattern. The team plays scared, the locker room feels it, and the season unravels before it even starts. That's what Kelce was really pointing out. Not just a QB depth chart, but a mindset. He basically said, Cleveland, stop being afraid. Stop clinging to the past. Stop duct taping holes. And the fact that he said it calmly, without ranting, without screaming, that's what makes it cut even deeper. Because when someone respected calls you out like that, it's not noise, it's truth. And here's the part ownership can't ignore. Fans can smell it. Players can smell it. They know when the coaching staff is trying to convince themselves. They know when the plan is shaky. And all it takes is one bad series from Joe Flacco, one ugly 3-and-out, before that locker room starts buzzing. Trust me, veterans notice when the backup looks sharper in practice. They hear it in whispers. They see it in side eyes. And once that belief starts cracking, man, it spreads like wildfire. Here's the reality. Joe Flacco's leash isn't just short. It's invisible. And when your season starts with the Bengals, that rope can snap in a quarter. So zoom out with me for a second. What's this really about? It's about identity. Are the Browns going to build something bold for the future, or are they just duct taping another year until it falls apart again? They've got 2 first-round picks next year. If this season implodes, maybe that's fresh QB blood. But right now, this decision is setting the tone, and Jason Kelce just fired a flare straight into Cleveland's front office. Stop being scared. Take the risk. Play to win. Because in the NFL, the teams that play safe are the teams that get left behind. And if the Browns don't figure this out fast, Kelce won't be the last one calling them out. So now I've got to ask you guys, are the Browns building for the future or are they just buying time? You know, I've been watching this whole situation in Cleveland unfold, and I've got to be honest with you, it feels like Kevin Stefanski's job might be hanging by a thread right now. The man is under fire, and every decision he makes is being magnified because the spotlight isn't just on the Browns anymore, it's squarely on him. And when you take a step back, when you really look at how this has played out, you can't help but ask yourself, did Stefanski actually set Shedeur Sanders up to fail? Think about it. The offensive line that Shedeur had protecting him in the last preseason game, completely gone. Every single one of them. The Browns didn't just shuffle pieces around, they wiped the slate clean. And now Stefanski is out here trying to explain himself, saying things like, I'm committed to Shedeur's development just like all of our rookies. But does that really sound like confidence to you? To me, it sounds like a coach who knows the wolves are circling. And here's the kicker. Fans see it too. They've been loud and they've been clear. They're saying Shedeur's struggles weren't on him at all. They were on the lack of protection, on the terrible lineup, on coaching decisions that made no sense. And because of that backlash, Cleveland went and released the entire group of linemen who played with Shedeur in that game. I mean, you tell me, does that not scream damage control? Does that not scream panic? But here's where things get really interesting. Former Browns players, insiders, analysts, they're starting to speak up. TJ Houshmandzadeh, he didn't hold back at all. He flat out said Stefanski's behavior looked personal, like he wasn't even invested in Shedeur's success. And when a guy like TJ says that, someone who's actually been inside that locker room, you've got to take notice. He called it bias. He called it obvious. And honestly, I can't disagree. Because let's rewind for a second. Remember Shedeur's first preseason game? The kid was flawless. He came out, executed, looked sharp, looked like the future. And what did Stefanski say after that? Not a word of praise, no acknowledgement, nothing. He brushed it off with this generic, we're developing all our rookies line, as if Shedeur didn't just prove himself in his very first outing. To me, that was the first red flag. That was the moment I started wondering if the coaching staff even wanted him to succeed in the first place. And now, after a game where Shedeur was left out there with guys who probably won't even make the roster, Stefanski pulls him out and throws in Snoop Huntley at the end of the game. Let's be real, Huntley wasn't even part of the plan. He was a last-minute emergency signing, someone they brought in because of injuries. Yet Stefanski tried to spin it as wanting to get him some work. Come on, we're not buying that. His tone said it all. He was rattled. He was scrambling. And it looked like a coach who was losing control of the situation. And then you've got voices like Chad Ochocinco chiming in, saying exactly what a lot of us have been thinking, that even Tom Brady would have struggled behind that offensive line. And he's right. Ochocinco even warned that the narrative would start shifting soon, that critics, especially those tied to the Browns, would try to label Shedeur as a failure, a bust, some fifth-string afterthought. But he made it clear. That wasn't the reality. The reality was Shedeur was thrown into a setup designed for him to stumble, and I think that's the part that's really boiling fans' blood right now. Because this wasn't about Shedeur failing on his own, it was about the environment he was placed in. And when fans see through it, when insiders call it out, when even former players are saying the coach looks biased, suddenly it's Stefanski who's standing in the fire. And you can see it. His body language, his shaky responses in pressers, his sudden shift in tone. He's backpedaling. He's trying to repair something he never should have broken in the first place. Look, it's ironic. Stefanski may have been trying to push Shedeur out of Cleveland, but now he's the one fighting for survival. Fans are demanding accountability. Analysts are ripping him apart. And you can feel the storm clouds gathering. How much longer can he realistically hold on? Because in this league, when you lose the locker room, when you lose the fans, and when it looks like you've singled out the rookie quarterback everyone's rooting for, that's a death sentence for a head coach. So here's where we stand. The Browns are in full-blown crisis mode. They're making moves, cutting players, scrambling to change the narrative, but the question still lingers. Will it be enough? Will fans buy it? Or is this just another desperate attempt to cover up? A situation that was mishandled from the start? One thing's for sure. This story isn't over. Not for Shedeur, and not for Kevin Stefanski. And the next move Cleveland makes could define the future of both.